before we get into the season simulation, let me take you to the rosters. And check out our good old friends, the Las Vegas Raiders. They did the same thing I did. They drafted Penix, but also got Baker Mayfield and Graham Mertz. Alright, so the expectations for this season are to make the playoffs. We think we're capable of doing that. We have the Rams in Week 1. Alright, well, Week 1, a home game as well. That's good to know. I don't know if that matters a damn bit in the simulation, but we're going to find out if this Bears team is for real or if we're not very good. The Rams don't look like they're very good. Got a rookie quarterback, Khalil Herbert, there in the backfield, but we have a better running back. Let's hope for the best. Simulate Week 1. See how we start 2025. Well, it's a win. It's not a very convincing win. Only a 3-point win over the Rams, but maybe they're better than what they look like. Jaquan Brisker, Evan Stewart, Noah Sewell, Bo Limmer, Mike Sainristil, Josh Proctor, Mayan Williams, Matt Sawyer, all getting upgrades ahead of this game. So we got some key pieces to this team's future, and then also some depth players. New ability for Jaquan Brisker. We'll mess with those when need be. And now we will simulate against the Giants, who did lose Week 1. Encouraging. A 38-14 win. Okay, Chicago. This team might be something. Mock draft number 1. We're 2-0, so obviously we're going to be far down here. Wouldn't this be funny? Arch Manning to the Saints for the second franchise in a row. Alex Lauderdale's a good player out of this draft. David Horn. Where do we sit? 23rd. Obviously, things are going to change. If Malachi Nelson falls that far, we are taking Malachi Nelson. Even though we already have Caleb Williams. Then we can send him wherever the hell we want. Anthony Hill Jr., always a good player to take in this draft, but I've taken him 2 franchises in a row. Actually, that's not true. We picked him up as a free agent with the Browns. Let's see who's up for contract negotiations here in the 2025 season. Oh! Jaquan Brisker, who's up to Superstar Dev. And DJ Moore. And Kyler Gordon. And Braxton Jones. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Alright, well, that's a bit of a problem. Let's see if we can get a couple of these important ones done right off the bat. Obviously, we want to keep Jaquan Brisker 26 with that superstar development. What's he going to cost us? About $9 million in cap space for this upcoming year. I like it. Neutral should be able. You need to do more to convince me this team is right for my future. Bad start. Oh, he had no interest. I see. I was looking at Moore's interest. So DJ Moore, 90 overall, 28 years old. One of the... I guess it's not few originals left on this team. Do we want to spend the money on DJ Moore with 3 stud young wide receivers behind him? I don't know if those guys are going to get up to a 90 overall, but Buka, Neighbors, and Evan Stewart are going to be just fine, and we could probably get somebody else. So if we don't have to spend the money on DJ Moore, I would rather not. Kyler Gordon, 25-star dev. Let's see if we can get at least one deal done now. Neutral offer. And Kyler Gordon, at the very least, is back. Ryan Jensen. I'm not entirely certain that Ryan Jensen isn't going to retire after this year. I feel like we do want to keep Nate Davis. He's going to be a pretty cheap option on the offensive line. And we're going to re-sign him now before he has a chance to grow anymore and demand more money. Everyone else here, outside of Darnell Wright, who's up for an option. So that's not important. Everyone else here is somebody who we got in free agency right before the preseason. So really, it's just TJ Edwards we should re-sign. We're going to try and get that done now. TJ Edwards is back. So what about Braxton Jones? Will this get it done? It will. With still about $37 million in cap space to work with, we could always play around with it. Somebody that I think we might want to get rid of from this team, oddly enough, is going to be Montez Sweat, but we'll see how the season progresses. Mid-80s and paying him what we are now, because this is after the Bears actually signed him to a big deal, is not the most ideal thing in the world. And now we simulate Week 3 on the road. If we're going to lose to the Packers, I'd rather it be this one. At least have it make sense. Always a tough place to play in Lambeau at a 4 o'clock game. But if the Bears can win this game, we're off to a really good start. Pittsburgh, it'll be interesting to see what they look like in Week 4, and then the Ravens in Week 5. So who knows? But a 3-0 start and a divisional win is great. Let's see if we can get it. We sure can't. 31-17 loss. That's a rough loss. QB1 check-in. What does Caleb Williams have to say? Approaching the end of the first quarter of the season, what more do you need out of Caleb Williams? Can we ask him to carry the team in year 2? I feel like build chemistry is probably the way to go. He's not at carry the team range quite yet, so we'll just look to build chemistry. Tyjae Spears up to an 85, Emeka Ibuka to an 83, Terrell Smith. Hope that's a speed upgrade. And now we simulate. Week 4, we're at home. The Steelers' defense is probably, if that's what happens, I would expect this to be a low-scoring game if we do lose. That Steelers' defense is pretty good, but hopefully our offense is good enough to overcome. Okay. It does look like it was the Steeler defense. A 2017 loss. What happened here? Passing. 1 touchdown, 1 pick for Caleb Williams on 285 yards. 26 of 41. Why are we throwing that much? 15 carries, 55 yards for Tyjae Spears. Not a great game. 2 touchdowns for Najee Harris. Our leading receiver was Cole Kmet. DJ Moore, 6 catches, 76 yards. Well, Week 5, it's about time we get back on to our winning ways. If we can beat the Ravens here, beat the Packers next week, we feel a lot better about our season after this little 2-game losing streak here. Baltimore also comes in 2-2, so we'll see what happens. This is probably going to be a close game. Yeah, 7-point loss, close enough. Baltimore's tough. That was always going to be a tough game. We got the Raiders coming up. We'll see what Michael Penix Jr. is like in year 2 for him. I did see an injury that popped up. I think it was Fletcher Cox, the backup defensive tackle. And it was 2 broken fingers on this team right now. Bo Limmer, a backup guard, and Fletcher Cox, the backup defensive tackle. Broken fingers. Really? That's what's stopping this team right now? So Week 6 against the Green Bay Packers. This is our home game against them, and then we don't have to worry about them for the rest of the year, barring a playoff matchup. We got a lot of good things happening for us here before this game, so let's hope that translates into results. All right. This is not at all what I expected. I really thought we were going to have a better season. A lot of time to turn it around. Just maybe not division title quite yet. So now we simulate. Let's see if the game listens to me and actually runs the football. They have Josh Jacobs, but a young and inexperienced Michael Penix Jr. at quarterback there for the Raiders. It's like I'm playing my other franchise. It's crazy. Let's simulate Week 7. All right, well, we're back on track somewhat. A 24-10 win over the Raiders. All right, players ready to negotiate. It's been a couple weeks since we've gone in here again. We do still have to negotiate with Jaquan Brisker. Going player friendly just to get a player like Brisker back is going to be a good idea. Hopefully he accepts. The more these players push for the money, the more it takes away from what we can do for this team in the offseason. Please. All right, Jaquan Brisker's back on just the regular player-friendly offer. That is good. DJ Moore's interest is high in re-signing. If we re-sign DJ Moore, I think we're handicapping ourselves to almost have... We're going to have no cap space remaining. 18.5 is not a lot to work with at all. We're at Week 7 in the season. Or are we in Week 8? We're in Week 8. This is the trade deadline. Eagles, the Browns might be good. The Falcons simulated great in year 1, I want to say. This is a tough schedule, man. Oh, that might be a signature win to turn this season around. A 20-14 win Week 9 against the Philadelphia Eagles. This schedule has to get easier at some point, you would assume. And a Week 10 simulation. Bears have found themselves back to 500. Started 2-0. Lost 4 straight. Have won 2 in a row. See if we can break that cycle, or if the Bears are about to go on another 4-game losing streak. That is the kind of win we like to see. A 28-7 win in a game we should have won. Just like that. And look at this. Caleb Williams, NFC Offensive Player of the Week. 21 of 25 passing for 208 yards, 4 touchdowns. 1 rush for 7 yards. Yeah, Falcons 7-2. They are simulating phenomenally here in this Building the Bears franchise. A big win if we could get it. I mean, we did beat Philly, that I didn't think we were going to win that game at all. But let's see what happens here in Week 11. This is going to be a big game for us. Bears are back over 500, but for how long? Let's see what the simulation says ahead of a divisional matchup with the Detroit Lions. Well, we were hoping for a better result, that's for sure, as the Bears have dropped back down to 500 at 5-5. The divisional matchup that could very well take us out of any possibility. The Lions have to get cold. We'd have to get red hot to win this division. But if we lose this game, it is all but certain. If we want to make the playoffs, we will have to make it as a wild card. First matchup of the season with the Detroit Lions. Let's see what happens. Okay, defense. Okay, defense. A 17-7 win. But a divisional game. This is our first game all season against the Vikings, who sit at the bottom of the NFC North at 4-7. Let's simulate, see what happens. This is a game we cannot lose. 7-5 sounds real good ahead of this stretch run. I see we got the Commanders coming up. That's good news. That's a team we should beat. The Bengals, I don't know. That game could be tough, but we'll see what happens. But we got to beat the Vikings first for 7-5. All right, well, not only did we beat them, thwacked them. 27-7 win. To the playoff picture, the Bears are the current 7 seed. Lions, our division leader, are the 5. So that must mean they lost. Not only to us, but to another team. Oh, Green Bay's leading the division. Green Bay, the 4 seed. Okay. However, I don't remember who the Commanders' quarterback is, so we'll find out in time. But now it is the Bengals. It'd be a big win if the Bears can get it. Might be able to move up to 2nd in the division with a win. And in theory, then increase our playoff seeding. So a win does us great. A loss, and it's getting down to the wire, and it's gonna be there's gonna be no room for slip ups. So let's see if we can get this win on the road. We're gonna need like a weekly award player again, aren't we? And it is a 1-point loss again. That is our second 1-point loss of the year, as we fall to 7-6. This is shaping up to be 9-8 again. Commanders come in at 5-8. Defense probably winning them the majority of their games. We have a good offense and defense. Like I said, a game we cannot lose. Absolutely cannot lose. The Bears seem to be probably the most clutch team we have in those can't-lose games, with big wins in almost all of them. 35-16 win over the Commanders ahead of a game against the division-leading Detroit Lions. No upgrades ahead of the Lions game. That might not be ideal, but this is a 3-team race, believe it or not, for the division. We're hanging on. If we win this game, it goes a long way. We get the Vikings to play and the defending Super Bowl champion Cowboys in between, so that's not great. So this would be a big win if we can get it, because I'm not sure if the Cowboys are going to be a very beatable team. I said it a few sims ago. This is going to be 9-8 again, isn't it? A 38-21 win, man. This offense continues to be incredible. I mean, if we lose this game and then get stunned by the Vikings in Week 18, this could all of a sudden turn from we've been in the playoff picture all this time to not being in there. And we simulate. Week 17 against the Dallas Cowboys. That team looks like a buzzsaw. Let's see what happens, but I'm not hopeful. Whoa. We actually won the game. Well, even without those upgrades and without everything else, the Vikings should be a team that we're able to beat. Despite that offense being really good, the defense really stinks, and our offense has somehow surpassed our defense. So let's see what they do in Week 18. See if we're going to the playoffs or not. I think we're good. But you never know. This NFC North has all of a sudden gotten really, really tough. 27-21 win, which means... Wait a minute, we jumped the Lions and... Oh my goodness! The miracle came! The Lions and Packers lost in Week 18, which means the Bears are the NFC North champions! How the hell did that happen? Everything that needed to happen for that to happen did... But for the second straight year, we are taking on the Detroit Lions. The Niners are the 1 seed in the NFC. The Colts are the 1 seed in the AFC. That's strange. Anthony Richardson was still sitting at like a 75 overall before the season started.